Radio.
News, opinion, and a little irreverence from both sides of the 49th parallel. This is Americanuck Radio with Mike Phillip.
Welcome back to Americanuck Radio, everybody. We are live. This is Mike Phillip. We got Professor Mike in Ottawa and Super Don riding shotgun down in Louisiana. And I live in the province of Alberta in the beautiful country of Canada. And everybody knows that we have free health care, right? Wrong! You're wrong!
The Fraser Institute has released a report showing that average provincial costs for healthcare program spending have gone from 34.4 to 40.6% on average between the years of 1998 to 2015. In Alberta, healthcare spending has increased 317% between those years, and the difference between healthcare and non-healthcare growth in spending in the province is the greatest here at 118.2%.
So there's your free health care. Our guest this afternoon is Dr. Peter Glidden. He's got 25 years of education, training, experience in holistic medicine, also a licensed naturopathic doctor. He's got the knowledge and the tools to help you either gain your health back or give you the knowledge to help your family or friends or stay healthy and don't get sick in the first place. Dr. Glidden, how you doing today?
It's a good day. I am above ground. Thanks so much for having me on.
Yeah, any day you're above ground is a good day. I guess depending on what's going on and who you are, right? But beautiful. So, Dr. Glidden, what made you decide to get into naturopathic medicine? I mean, with all the cost of schooling and all that, and I imagine there would be a lot more money in becoming a allopathic reductionist. What was a turning point in your life that made you decide to take that route?
Well, it was a personal experience. I'd always been a little bit alternatively minded, right from the cradle. Don't really know how that happened, but I was kind of leaning that way anyway. But I went to college. I graduated, third in my class in high school, and I went to a really good college for a year and a half. Dropped out because I was just wasting my parents' money, and I did a number of odd jobs all around the country for 5 years. I worked on a commercial fishing boat. I hitchhiked across the country. I did a lot of things, right? And I woke up one morning and I was going, well, this has all been a nice little adventure, but I really do need to get down to business here, and I need to be doing something for a living rather than just being a vagabond. So I've been helped by a chiropractor a lot when I was in college and when I was in high school. So since I was holistically oriented, I guess I have that gene, right? I went back to school, pre-med, to become a chiropractor. Excellent. 2 years into my education, I'm looking around, and just like you said, chiropractors were kind of bottom of the barrel people. They were looked down at, right? They were kind of low on the social status pole, and I said, well, maybe I can be an osteopath, because they're a little bit higher up. They've got a little bit more social standing. They still do physical medicine like a chiropractor does. Let's be an osteopath. So I'm on track to go to osteopathic medical school. It's January of my senior year. I go to the Biddeford College of Osteopathic Medicine in Maine, and I have my interview, and my academics was great, and everything was great. My motivation was great, but the guy that interviewed me said, hey, Doc, you know that in order to become an osteopath, you're going to have to do rotations in conventional medical hospitals delivering conventional medical treatments, and I did not know that. I don't know why I didn't know that. I guess I kind of didn't have my eyes wide open. I was, trying to graduate, for goodness sake. So my world fell out from underneath me. I thought that everything that I had done had just gone to crap, and I'd wasted, a lot of money, and what was I going to do now? So I got really, really, really sick. It was a big shock. psychological, emotional shock to my system. I got sick. And I was living, by the way, at the University of Massachusetts. Is like medical central in central Massachusetts. You hit a 9-iron and you're going to go break a window in a hospital or a research center. There's thousands of doctors all throughout the Happy Valley in the middle of Massachusetts. None of them could help me. Went to all of them. None of them could help me. Finally, I was married at the time, and my wife said, "Why don't you go see a naturopath?" And I didn't know what a naturopath was. I thought naturopathic medicine, well, I didn't know what it was, and since I was an arrogant pre-med student and I thought I knew everything, I kind of looked down my nose at anything I didn't know about. But then I thought to myself, son of a gun, they seem holistically oriented, whatever it is. I got nothing to lose. So I went, begrudgingly, because I didn't have anything else to do, and I was sick. I'd been in bed for like 14 days. I was losing weight, fever, chills, muscle aches, cramps, diarrhea. I was getting worse, not better, and I was at the end of my rope. So I went to see the only naturopath. There were 2 naturopathic physicians working in Massachusetts in 1987. 2. One of them was in Boston, and one of them lived in the same town that I did. Go figure. I was carried into the guy's office. He was very professional, very doctorly, did a physical exam, drew blood, gave me a homeopathic medicine, 2 pellets of a homeopathic medicine, 2 little pellets. Must have cost 35 cents U.S. Nothing happened. He scratched his chin. He pulled a big book off the shelf and started paging through it, asked me a couple of other questions, gave me a different homeopathic medicine. 2 minutes after I took it, my body started shaking uncontrollably. I ran into the bathroom and threw up a couple of ounces of nasty, bilious sludge. And as soon as that crap left my body, I was cured. I was cured.
Just like that.
Was cured. Yeah, man. I was carried into his office. I walked home, walked out of the office, went home, slept for, I don't know, a long, long time, woke up the next day, born again, no kidding. And 5 or 6 months later, I think, 8 months later, I was a freshman at Naturopathic Medical School. It turned my life around.
That is an awesome story. And you know what? Several years ago, I was having huge health problems myself, and so was my wife. And I was digging around on the internet, and I found Dr. Glidden's show on GCN, started listening. And I have gotten over more health problems. Like, I really have to sit and think about it to remember all of them. I'm talking asthma, allergies, hypertension. I was like, oh, man, I had so many things going on. It was unreal. But just listening to your show and the things that you were saying, I was able to absolutely turn my health around after going to MDs my whole life, and nothing worked. They talk about health care, but in fact it was nothing more than disease management. And if you think about the word disease, I mean dis-ease. I mean, it's a state of not being in good health, right, with a bunch of symptoms. And Dr. Glidden was able to turn that around for me. Let's talk a little bit about simple solutions to diseases that science and MDs have no clue about. We've only got 1 minute left, but let's talk about heartburn, Dr. Glidden. That should be easy, right?
Well, yeah, the reason that healthcare costs are rising in Canada, the reason that they're rising in the United States all across the world is because the most expensive therapeutic is the one that doesn't work. Your medical doctor is trained in a methodology called allopathic medicine, and the intention of that is not to cure the disease, it's to manage the symptom. So your medical doctor isn't trained to cure heartburn. They don't even know what causes it, for goodness sakes.
Right.
As far as they're concerned, they'd be happy to give you proton pump inhibitors or antacids every day for the rest of your life. What we do, most of the time, heartburn, it's a simple calcium deficiency and or salt. So you start salting your food so that it tastes good and swallow a good calcium supplement every day. And in 7 to 14 days, the heartburn is cured. It's cured. It's gone.
Calcium and salt. Get rid of your heartburn, dumbass. Listen to Dr. Glidden. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to American Canuck Radio, everybody. And if you've ever, I mean, most people have seen the television series Breaking Bad, and now I would just like to say the whole premise or story of that show was about a high school teacher named Mr. White that came down with cancer, and this fine, upstanding citizen had to take to becoming a meth cook in order to pay his medical bills. Our guest is Dr. Peter Glidden. His website is glidden.healthcare, or you can go to drglidden.com. He's got a book called The MD Emperor Has No Clothes. Let's talk about bankruptcy due to the medical system, which doesn't work in the first place, Dr. Glidden.
Well, the leading cause of death in the United States, interestingly enough, is MD-directed medical treatments. About 760,000 people a year are killed because they went to an MD. And the leading cause of bankruptcy, interestingly enough, is medical treatments. Now, you know, the only reason that nonsense like this exists is because, and nobody knows this because it's been such a thing for such a long time, right? We don't have a free medical market. But people aren't aware that we don't have a free medical market. People have been socialized by Big Pharma, the American Medical Association, Health Canada, to believe that the only real doctors have MD after their name and everybody else is a substandard back-of-the-bus quack with dangerous treatments. Exactly the opposite is true. Listen, you're welcome to your own opinion, but you most certainly are not welcome to your own set of facts. The leading cause of bankruptcy in the United States is MD-directed medical treatments. And why is this? Because they're the wrong dog for the hunt. The philosophy of medicine that medical doctors are trained in is most excellent for surgery, trauma care, emergency medicine, a handful of infectious diseases. That is their wheelhouse. That is their thing. But when it comes to chronic diseases, the things that most people go to most doctors for most of the time, the philosophy of medicine, the methodology of treatment that the MDs are trained in, is the wrong dog for the hunt. It doesn't work. And what's the most expensive type of medicine? It's the one that doesn't work. We've spent $1 trillion. That's 1,000 billion dollars on cancer research. We're not any closer to a cure for cancer now than we were in the 60s when Richard Nixon in the United States said, oh, we have a war on cancer. Why is this? Because we're giving the money to the medical profession that doesn't even know how to cure heartburn. And those guys are going to cure cancer. The only reason that we give them the money, the only reason that we keep going back to that well is because of a monopoly. We do not have a free medical market. If you want access to naturopathic medicine in Canada, chiropractic medicine in Canada, homeopathic medicine, any type of holistic therapeutic, it's out of the pocket. Your insurance does not pay for that, and that is a crime. If, by some genie-in-the-bottle magic, we all woke up tomorrow and you had equal access to naturopathy, homeopathy, chiropractic, acupuncture, traditional Chinese medicine, Ayurveda, and conventional medicine, and it was all practiced in your hospital with easy access and insurance paid for everything, within 2 or 3 years, probably not even, MDs would be out of a job because people gravitate to the therapeutics that work in a free market. We don't have a free market. Everybody thinks that alternative medical doctors are quacks. They don't even think they're real doctors. And this is why people are dying, and this is why the cost of health care is going up, because it's a monopoly. And it's gigantic freaking money for the people involved in health care. It's good to be king. It's good to be king. Not so good to be a patient, right? Leading cause of death, MD-directed medical therapeutics. You got to be kidding me. And this is the problem that we are all up against. And this is why, you know, people like you, Robert Scott Bell, and a handful of other people who are, you know, standing up in the town square saying, hey, take a look around, ladies and gentlemen. This is why what you're doing is so very important, because people need to know what the heck is going on.
Yeah, so what you're saying is that people's doctor, in most cases, is actually more dangerous than ISIS and Hitler put together. I mean, they've killed more Americans, push more people to bankruptcy. You see it all the time, but they just keep on trusting them, like the mechanic that never quite gets your car going, but you keep going back and paying them. So, I mean, here's the deal. You can have access to this amazing guy and his advice that I've found personally, and myself and, my family members, works, I would say, a good 98% of the time. I mean, nothing is 100%, right? But this guy's advice has consistently worked better than anything I've ever found. He's got a brand new service called the Advocate Service, and for $20 a month, you can have live access to Dr. Peter Glidden. There's a link at the AmericanUckradio.com website. Once again, that's AmericanUckradio.com, and you can subscribe to ask questions to Dr. Glidden live on a weekly basis and listen to webinars where he'll teach you how to use minerals, vitamins, and amino and fatty acids to get over simple issues like diabetes, hemorrhoids, heartburn, stupid stuff that you should be able to do. And like I said, my family, we don't go running and skipping on down to the walk-in clinic. We go to the cupboard. And quite honestly, since I met Dr. Glidden, and I'd like to throw in there, too, that me and Professor Mike used to host his radio show. I'm very proud of that. Very proud to call this guy my friend. But I've gone to the walk-in clinic maybe twice in the last 6 years. So people want to talk about healthcare spending bankrupting the province. I'm not responsible for that, okay? Because I listen to the right people, and you can too. Head on over to American Uck Radio, click on the link. It's not standing right now, but it's going to be up right away. So Dr. Glidden, what kind of stuff have you got planned for the Dr. Glidden Advocate Service?
Well, the biggest message here, Mike, is that we're suffering from two cultural myths right now. Myth number one is that the MD owns the decoder ring to all things medical, and everybody else is a substandard quack with back-of-the-bus training. It's a lie. Medical doctors practice one type of medicine. It's good for surgery, it's good for trauma care, it's good for a handful of emergencies, but it stinks for everything else. And guess what? There are science-based, clinically verified alternatives which have been developed, delivered, practiced, and proven by licensed holistic physicians that are available right now in real time. The second myth is that healing is a complicated, sophisticated process that can only happen in multi-million-dollar high-tech facilities. It's nonsense. Surgery is complicated. Healing the body is easy. The basic foundation holistic message is your body knows how to fix itself. Your body wants to fix itself. Your body is trying to fix itself all of the flippin' time. And I educate people about the simple steps they can take to do that. You've got arthritis. You don't have a bad gene. You have a bad doctor. You have high blood pressure. You don't have a voodoo curse. You have a bad doctor. You're suffering with a chronic illness. Your body has run out of the nutrients it needs to fix itself. And you're eating food on a regular basis, which is hurting the body.
Dr. Glidden, as is always the case, I hate to interrupt you, but it was really good to have you on where there's never enough time. Mike, and Super Don with Dr. Peter Glidden on American Uck Radio, and we have got Leanna Warner-Gray coming up next.